Hello friends, I am Deepikkaa. Today I am narrating a story of a family who lives in Syria. Ammi. Is Khalid back home? I asked my husband as I came out of the washroom. No, said my husband. Oh, I have asked him a million times to not go out, but he just doesn't listen to me these days. Let him come home. He needs to be scolded. But why would you scold him, Sakina? After all, he has gone to Afzal's place for the funeral. A long silence ensued. I am Sakina. I live with my husband and 2 kids in the city of Damascus, in the war-torn Syria, where we live under a constant cloud of death. We were just talking about Afzal's death when we heard the sound of a blast. We rushed to the window to see clouds of dust and the horrendous sight of people running to save their lives. We both were terrified, and even more so for Khalid. That was when I realized the mind has a simple way of wrecking you up, making you think of the worst kind of situation possible. Scary, no? I have a 9-year-old daughter, Ruhana. She is indifferent to these blasts now. She is not scared like a 9-year-old should be of violent blasts like these. She just watches them like a zombie. It has been 8 months like this. Neither does she listen nor does she speak. Her mind is numb from the sight of infinite, unmoving and bloodied bodies. And of course, the sound of the blasts. Ruhana is definitely not the only one. There are innumerable such children in Syria. This is just one of those things that we have reaped from the war in Syria. Believe me, I'd rather kill this crop. My husband was insisting on going outside to look for Khalid. He didn't have to say it in words for me to understand that he wanted to look for Khalid's body in the mounds of corpses draped ever so gently in the sheets of dust. Honestly, my heart wanted to shout out and look for Khalid too. But the prospect of losing my husband to another unforeseen blast was paralyzing me with fear. I pleaded with him not to go out. I don't remember how much time passed between my sobs and pleadings. Suddenly, we heard a loud bang on the door. My son had been out since morning. He had gone to his friend's funeral, who had been mercilessly beaten up the previous night by people who claimed to be fighting for religion. Pray, what kind of a religion teaches men to kill? The situation is such that a knock on the door instantly makes our mind meander towards the unthinkable. What if they picked our house next? My husband looked outside from the window and he shouted, "It's Khalid!" I almost tripped over myself as I ran to open the door. My 13-year-old son stood before my eyes. He was soaked in blood and plastered with dust. We hugged him, and I don't think it would be too much to say that we started howling cries of relief. This is the story of every Syrian. When a dear one makes it back home alive, the rivers of joy overflow. Amma, See these marks. They tied us up with wires and imprisoned us in a suffocating dark cellar where there were several like me, hungry, thirsty, and in pain. We were all begging for mercy, hoping that maybe one of our imprisoners would finally soften. But alas, with each cry for mercy, their whips came down stronger, harder, and several times more painful than the previous one. Amma, suddenly we heard a blast. That was when we got lucky, Amma. We managed to break open the gates, and those of us who had the strength ran away. I could not help the others who were dying. Khalid started sobbing, almost choking on his tears. Ammi, are we here to die? Why can't we live in a place where they don't want to kill us? Please, please, Ammi, let's leave for a safer heaven. What's the worst that will happen, Ammi? Does the fear of being killed while crossing the border stop you, Ammi? Aren't we already living in the fear of death every day? His questions didn't stop, and I had no answers. I don't know whether we will be able to leave Syria. I don't even know whether we will be alive the next minute. For now, I can just sit and dream of better days, of a peaceful country, of my peaceful world which existed once upon a time.